Well met, my fellow Keyblade warriors. It is I, V, the Cosmic Lion / Lion Jotun, here with you all after finally passing my mark of mastery underneath Master Britopia, aka Brit Does Whatever, to bring you all Kingdom Hearts Month, the only celebratory month before Kingdom Hearts 3's release, where I try to go over at least 4 different countdowns of very unique topics that are important to me, involving the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Now, at the moment of this recording, we do not know when it's going to be dropping. It might be in the fall, it might have already come out, but as of right now, all 4 of these countdowns are pre-recorded, mostly because we want to make sure we reach this deadline.
Breaking news, Kingdom Hearts will be released January 29th.
Where to kick things off, I, as well as my favorite Keyblade warrior in all things partnership of HeyItsMeChriss, aka Chewy X.
Hey guys, I am so excited to be doing this video with V. I love Kingdom Hearts, so it's going to be so fun to do this video.
Will now be assisting me on the first countdown of the month of top 5 boss fights. Any countdown artist can tell you straightforward what makes a good boss fight. The way it's trying to integrate what you can do in later fights, how to do different tactics in case you want to try the boss again if you fail. It's a giant exam for every single world or any sort of level that you're entering, whether it's from a small scale story of a platformer or something as big as an RPG / action adventure story. No matter what the case is, boss fights are here to test the limits of what you are at your current standpoint to see if you're ready for the upcoming fight, as well as being very memorable depending on how intricate the story and plotline is. Where I'm going to be doing my first 5 and then following the other stuff, we'll have Chris joining me with her own thing of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 to help stimulate all the sort of things that we need to know of the story. Let us dive in first with my choice of number 5. As we begin number 5, I'm going to just kind of go a little bit softball-y and throw out the guard armor from Kingdom Hearts 1. It's a little bit of a cheap ploy because a lot of people would say Darkseid being the ultimate heartless boss anyone could ever fight at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts. Which is true, the scope of him is incredible, as well as selling the whole Sora trying to reach out for Kairi and save Riku on this island because friendship is magic, yo. But no, guard armor is important because that's where the plot really starts to thicken, involving the Keyblade and how Sora ends up with Goofy and Donald to begin with. Now, the fight itself is not that memorable because, well, guard armor until his second fight is not really that much of a challenge. A lot of first-time players will have a little bit of some issues if they don't know the patterns that well compared to pros that have played this game so many times that they've actually gone insane trying to level grind all the way to the max level. And oh my god, Sephiroth, you are a piece of shit! Anyway, enough of my flashbacks. The memorable thing about his fight, though, isn't really the fight itself, as I've clarified just now with my angry rant and flashback, and PTS nightmares of Sephiroth in the Colosseum. It's in fact how his actions lead into the unification of the main trio that we know and love today, of Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Insert meme here. With this being the selling point of it, it's how the actual journey began that led to all the fights that we see and hear about, except for in the prequels and the side stories. Most of them, kind of, I guess. Not that important. Still, this is a huge selling point on many different scales because this is what helps give you, as the player, a new goal to reach for. Not only saving several worlds and saving your friends, but uncovering a lot of mysteries involving why has this occurred? Why are you the person that's with the Keyblade? And it's starting off on a very strong note. However, it's only going to be at number 5 because, like I've said, even though it's memorable to how the plot begins, it's not that strong in comparison to other things that I can put on this list, as you will see soon. But until then, let's start off by going into Chris with her pick for number 5.
Pick for number 5 is Pete. I know it's silly and not really even a hard fight, but I love the Steamboat cartoon, and the style is fun to look at, and the changes of the scene is so cool. I'm not very good at these countdown videos. I'm just going to keep saying neat and cool all the time. Here's V with his number 4.
Now to go into number 4, where it's going to be a little bit of a hate fest. because I have no good things to talk about involving Chain of Memories. In essence, it is a god-awful game due to gameplay. Not to story, not to characters, but to the goddamn card system! It is by far the stupidest thing I've ever had to deal with, even though I had to deal with the same exact thing in Birth by Sleep. But here's the difference. The Birth by Sleep notions actually made sense for customization. This whole card system was bullshit. But I'm going to overlook that as we go into my top 4 pick with Marluxia, the graceful assassin of Organization 13. Now, I have no idea what his backstory is because I'm not that interested in him as a character, but I will admit that his boss fights were at least second to memorable as well as his story, because, as you all know, I'm a lore and story man. Being the graceful assassin as he is, Marluxia was trying to plan out a coup of sorts against the organization at large, against Xemnas, the current leader of Organization 13, at least in the timeline. So he wanted to manipulate the known Keyblade wielder in arm's reach, not talking about any of the other Keyblade wielders he could have gone after, like Mickey or Riku, or going to the Realm of Darkness to get Aqua, or Yen Sid. You know, just those small little things that could have been avoided in hindsight, but you know, Sora, main protagonist powers, yo. Anywho, by trying to drag him in there to then be manipulated by his nobody daughter thing due to a soul bang with Kairi because their hearts were together. It's complicated. To lead into having Sora try to lose his memories to become more and more of a puppet while trying to fight off against other organization members like Larxene and Zevin, and everyone's favorite bad boy of Axel. And even having to fight a replica of his best friend slash shipmate of Riku. All to culminate into a final fight of trying to either save his memories where he stands or become a puppet of the organization's graceful assassin. And it's quite frankly a very satisfying fight even with the janky system. To even culminate into having not only a reappearance in Kingdom Hearts 2 as a data battle without the card system, but thanks to a lot of different things that came out recently in trailers, we are, quite frankly, a few steps closer to having a brand new fight against Marluxia in Kingdom Hearts 3. Whenever that's coming out, obviously. But another interesting thing about Marluxia in general, as the graceful assassin, although he is quite frankly one of the greatest scythe wielders in fiction, here's a little known fact about him as well as his cherry blossomed hair. Marluxia likes to do everything with Sakuras. Sakuras being very prevalent in Japanese lore. And Sakura blossoms, aka cherry blossoms, are very reminiscent and represented in the motif of death. With him being the graceful assassin with sides and pink hair and fluttering all of the blossoms before him, it's quite frankly even more terrifying in retrospect to see him as the main antagonist, as well as seeing him as very well constructed as a character in not only motif and scale, but also in symbolism. Him trying to be the death of all things to start up a new era, even if he himself ends up reaped by his own sown oats, making him his own parable of what happens when you dream too big to fly closely to the ever-engulfing sun called destiny. Man, I got super poetic. Let's move on to Chris with the number 4 thing and make sure that you guys get less serious and more whimsical and fun like she likes to do.
My number 4 is Dragon Maleficent from Kingdom Hearts 1. She's not much of a challenge as her human form. She's mostly 6 heartless at you to do her bidding. And then when she gets to gets the darkness in her, she becomes the dragon form, which is freaking awesome. She becomes a badass. And I might be biased because I'm in love with dragons. The fight was more complicated than the human form, obviously. And it was an epic one. I'm so good at this.
Moving now into the number 3 spot, where things are going to get really, really weird as we go back in time. And I mean super fucking weird to the point of, oh dear God, what is with the continuity of this franchise? Case in point, Braig from Birth by Sleep. In the Terra story, we've had to fight alongside a lot of different evil people, whether knowingly or unknowingly, whether purposely or unpurposely, depending on your view of Terra's whole "I'm just trying to be a hero, but I just do bad things by accident" ploy, and his own lacking knowledge of knowing people. Terra, do you get why you're not a master yet? Still though, in this whole story of his life being constantly fucked over, he's pulled into a ploy by Square Enix's favorite pedophile of Master Xehanort, as Braig is holding him captive. Yeah, Terra, I'm not sure it's wise to think that the most powerful master in the known Kingdom Hearts universe could be held together and bound up by a guy with guns. This is a very stupid man. But still, the fight with Braig, although very short-lived and not that interesting in comparison, is a very profoundly interesting story for actually its motivations as well as its lore, instead of how the fight itself transpires. This is kind of the catalyst behind Xehanort sowing even more darkness into Terra to make him into the vessel that we all know today of Terranort, giving birth to Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, and Xemnas, to then also do a whole thing of time travel of 13 bodies of Xehanort. It gets weird. But still, with Braig trying to not only get DNA of Xehanort to become a clone of Xehanort from his actions, to even get his own Keyblade for some odd reason, this is a very interesting note about why Xigbar, a later antagonist in the game, actually has his eye patch, and how he seems to know a lot about Keyblade wielders. Even if certain characters in the franchise are too dumb to realize that there is more to the story than what meets the eye. Get it? Eye? Because Braig ends up with what? Never mind. I'll go in the corner. Chris, you got the number 3 spot?
Yes, V, I got the number 3 spot. My third is Possess Riku. Riku honestly annoyed me a lot, and because he acted like a spoiled brat the entire time. But what can you really expect from children? Ooh, you like this girl? Oh, I like that girl too. Well, wah. Oh, you have a keyblade? Well, my blade is bigger than yours. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I like Possess Riku because friendship, yo, what? Okay. Because, I mean, Riku banded Donald and Goofy to, fight for Sora and all that. I don't know. But, yeah, okay. I suck. This is like the close to the, yeah, bye. Okay, here's V with his number 2. I'm lost. Where am I? Am I in Kingdom Hearts?
So, we're moving on into the number 2 spot, where we're going to be going into the world of Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking maybe it's going to be the final fight with Xemnas, or is it going to be something involving, dare I say, a memorable fight with an organization member established? Or is it the secret fight that not a lot of people want to go into of Lingering Will? And to answer all those questions up front, it's none of those. Instead, it is the fight of Sora versus Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2. Why am I choosing that as my number 2? Ironically, Kingdom Hearts 2 at the number 2 spot. Anyway. The reason I'm choosing this as my number 2 choice is not for its big bombastic thing, because of, in the original game you couldn't play it as Sora in that fight, but you can in the remix / remastered / whatever you want to call it. It's instead trying to cement Sora's whole coming into full power range from his whole journey of never knowing what his nobody really was. Even at this point, still thinking it's all just a dream, or he fought this guy and then all of a sudden nothing really substantial happened. It's a symbolizing moment that shows that Roxas is still around, he's still alive, and wants Sora to know how he feels, how he wants his power to still be with him as he fights the remainder of Organization 13. With that powerful notion, as they clash blades so ferociously, To the point where even Sora can rock 3 fucking Keyblades at the same time to fight his own nobody inside his Station of the Heart, his dive within, as a very interesting notion about how you can go beyond your own limits to get your own full power back with your own partners standing side by side, as an allusion to something that happens in Dream Drop Distance involving the second occupant of Sora's heart. I'm not going to say any more than that because a lot of people haven't played Dream Drop Distance, and I don't want to spoil anything more than that. Be that as it may, this is how I just visualize how a number 2 spot goes with memorability. Something that can hit you in the feels as well as make your mind wander into how the writers wanted this to happen, why this is happening, why is the motivation like this, and what is the outcome. And a lot of good things end up happening from this that I would love to go into, but once again, do not want to spoil. In the meantime, though, let's dive into what Chris has for a number 2 sign now, shall we?
My number 2 would be any fight with Axel because he's great. I love Axel's characters. I don't know if it's the red hair or his sadness for the just wanting his friend Roxas to remember him and all that jazz. Axel is a part of the infamous Organization 13. He was always my first choice but didn't quite make it. Axel is awesomely developed character. I was always waiting for him to come back. Here you go, V, for the number 1 boss.
When it comes down to deciding what number 1 truly is, I couldn't think of another more memorable fight that I could remember in the last few years that have made me really want Kingdom Hearts 3 so badly until I remembered the fight of Riku versus young Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Now keep in mind though, guys, I'm gonna try and avoid a lot of spoilers, but try and only give you the nitty gritty about why this is a memorable fight for myself as the character / lore man. In essence, this battle is not only for Riku trying to save his best friend from a big screw up that wasn't either their faults, but really a bad writing collaboration by Xehanort and Square Enix basically trying to do a circle jerk into the player's face, just like, you ready for this? Okay. With that being the case, the fight itself, although very tedious and long, is quite frankly satisfying to those that have level grind to hell and back, just to make sure that every single hit to young Xehanort's face was felt by every other person injected with the blood of Xehanort. And why is it that I keep saying the blood of Xehanort, you may be asking? Well, to keep it non-spoilery to those that have played the games at this point, let's just say that Xehanort is just trying to start up a big-ass war by just basically trying to do what Aku did to the daughters of Aku. That's as far as I'm going to go with why this is happening, until there's also this thing about basically they stole the Doctor's TARDIS to try and do a whole convoluted thing that made the essence of why these things are happening even more obscurely dumb, and now I'm like, my head hurts. My head really hurts. Regardless, this is basically a memorable battle not only for how convoluted they made the storyline, but because of the outcomes. With this being the linchpin in the story for Birth by Sleep's existence, stating that Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely going to be interesting for many different reasons, it allows Riku to become an official Keyblade Master. It allows Sora to have access to not only the Awake World, but the Dream World to access his things of Dream Eaters, as we've seen in the trailers for Kingdom Hearts 3 as we know it today. And it's even hinting at the full-blown training of Kairi officially becoming a Keyblade warrior herself, as well as Leah, the complete human form of Axel, as well as starting up a journey about saving Aqua, Terra, and Ventus from their separate fates, even trying to resurrect Roxas, Sora's other child thing with Kairi of Xion, and Leah's nobody of Axel. All of which trying to culminate into a very more complete story than what I could ever have imagined from such a very, very strange motif that I'm still confused about. Still, with that being the case, this is why it's my pick for number 1, due to the fact of how big the gravity of the situation is, how amazing they tried to tie up everything in a very sloppily handled manner, and even more of a reach of just like, just give me fucking Kingdom Hearts 3 already, Square! But I digress. We'll go into Chris's whole thoughts of number 1 and then close out the countdown in style.
My last and final boss is Xanus, the final form. It's the last fight in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's very memorable to me because it's, it's the end of Kingdom Hearts 2 and everyone we're so excited for the third one to come out. Been waiting for like 10 years. It's where Zora and Riku team up and fight him together. This was the end and it was such an intense fight. I remember playing this so long ago, the very first playthrough on this fight. I was so close to destroying him. It was only, he only needed a few more hits and I would have owned him. But I had a sliver of life and I was barely holding on and I was so far away from him. I tried to get to him and then I died. Ugh, what a tragic story. I screamed bloody murder. No one was home, or so I thought. My sister's boyfriend at the time slowly poked his head in and asked if I was okay. Embarrassing. Well, that was fun, V. Thank you for letting me be a part of this video. I'm so sorry. I was terrible. I think this is my very first countdown video I've ever done, so don't be too harsh on me. Yeah. Bye.
Well, guys, that is all we're going to be giving you guys for this countdown. If you have any memorable boss fights from Kingdom Hearts, let us know in the comments below. There are so many fights in this gaming franchise, it's hard to keep track of just a top 5 list, where I might do a bigger list next year. In the meantime, though, we're gonna go into another countdown where this is gonna get even stranger from here on out.
Let me tell you a story.